The Siren's Song of the Countryside. The country mouse with a voice like a siren. Roots in Texas soil. In the heart of Texas, where the sun blazed and the wind whispered secrets across the vast plains, there lived a young girl named Celeste Johnson. Born to Evelyn, a schoolteacher with a fondness for poetry, and Marcus, a mechanic whose humming filled their modest home with melody, Celeste was the middle child of 5 siblings in a household where love flowed as freely as music. Their home, a weathered farmhouse on the outskirts of Riverdale, population 897, stood resilient against the Texas heat, its wraparound porch offering respite during scorching summer afternoons. It was on this porch where Celeste first discovered her voice at the tender age of 4, mimicking the mourning doves that perched on the electrical wires stretching across their property. "That child don't just sing, she channels something divine," Grandma Tilly would say, her wizened face crinkling with pride as Celeste's clear notes filled the evening air during family gatherings. Even then, Celeste was a paradox, painfully shy in conversation yet transformed when music flowed through her, a vessel for something greater than herself. The Johnson household operated on modest means but abundant spirit. Marcus worked double shifts at Wilson's Auto to keep food on the table, while Evelyn supplemented their income by tutoring after school hours. Despite financial constraints, they ensured music remained present. A weathered upright piano occupied the corner of their living room, rescued from a church renovation and lovingly restored by Marcus's careful hands. Early notes and childhood harmonies. By age 7, Celeste had developed a ritual. Each morning before school, she would slip out to the old oak tree behind their property, climb to her favorite branch, and sing to an audience of mockingbirds and jackrabbits. Her older brother James discovered her secret performances one day and, instead of teasing, brought their father to listen from a distance. "She needs proper training, Marcus," Evelyn insisted that evening after the children were asleep. "A gift like that needs nurturing." With finances stretched thin, formal lessons seemed impossible until Reverend Wallace's wife, a former opera singer who recognized Celeste's raw talent during a church hymn, offered to teach her free of charge. Twice weekly, Celeste would bicycle 3 miles to the church where Mrs. Wallace introduced her to breath control, vocal ranges, and musical notation. School presented challenges for the shy girl. While academically bright, Celeste retreated into herself during social interactions, finding refuge in the choir room during lunch breaks where the music teacher, Mr. Delaney, would allow her to practice piano. Her siblings, James, Louisa, Michael, and little Ruby, formed a protective circle around her, with James particularly threatening retribution against anyone who dared mock his sister's reserved nature. "Just wait," he would tell her during moments of childhood dejection. "Someday your voice will take you places these folks can't even imagine." The blossoming voice. Adolescence brought changes to Celeste's world. Her voice deepened and expanded in range, developing a richness that Mrs. Wallace described as honey poured over gravel. At 14, tragedy struck when Marcus's truck collided with a tractor-trailer during a late-night drive home from work. His passing left a gaping hole in the family's heart and their finances. Music became Celeste's refuge and expression of grief. In the months following the funeral, neighbors would report hearing haunting melodies drifting from the Johnson property at twilight, Celeste processing her pain through song, often singing her father's favorite hymns with a newfound emotional depth that belied her years. Evelyn took on additional tutoring jobs, and James deferred his college plans to work full-time at the auto shop where their father had been employed. The family's struggle became Celeste's first composition, a bluesy ballad titled, "Mechanic's Hands," that she performed at a local fundraiser organized by their church to support the Johnson family. The performance marked a turning point. Standing before neighbors and friends, 16-year-old Celeste transformed from a trembling, terrified girl to a commanding presence the moment her first note resonated through the community center. The raw emotion in her delivery silenced the room, and by the final verse, there wasn't a dry eye to be found. "That ain't just singing," old Mr. Whitaker said afterward, pressing a $20 bill into Evelyn's hand. "That's storytelling with the voice of an angel who's seen some hell." The talent show that changed everything. Celeste's senior year arrived with the annual high school talent showcase, an event historically dominated by the wealthy students from the north side of the county whose parents funded private music lessons and dance classes. Louisa, now a confident sophomore with her father's mechanical aptitude and her mother's determination, nominated Celeste without her knowledge. "You can't hide forever," Louisa told her horrified sister when the announcement of participants was made. "Daddy would want you to shine." The Johnson household mobilized around Celeste's reluctant participation. Michael, the family's budding designer, repurposed one of Evelyn's old dresses into a stunning midnight blue gown accented with stars cut from reflective material. Ruby, at 11, appointed herself Celeste's personal cheerleader, requiring her sister to practice in front of her stuffed animal audience daily to combat stage fright. James called in a favor from his boss's son who played guitar in a local band, arranging proper accompaniment for Celeste's performance. The chosen song, a powerful arrangement of Nina Simone's "Feeling Good," showcased the full range of her voice, from smoky low notes to soaring, clear high passages. On the night of the showcase, the auditorium buzzed with the usual teenage energy and competitive undercurrents. The Johnson family occupied the third row, a united front of support with several church members filling seats around them. When Celeste's name was called, Evelyn squeezed her daughter's hand, whispering, "Your daddy's listening too, baby." The spotlight found Celeste center stage, her eyes momentarily blinded as she searched the darkness for her family's familiar faces. A beat of silence stretched uncomfortably long as stage fright threatened to overwhelm her. Then, from the audience, Ruby's small voice called out, "Sing it like the oak tree, Celeste." The simple reminder of her childhood sanctuary broke the paralysis. Celeste closed her eyes, imagined her favorite branch, and when the guitar's first notes sounded, she opened her mouth and let her voice fly free. The room fell silent as her voice filled the air, a powerful torrent of emotion and melody that washed over the audience like a tidal wave. What happened next would become local legend. As Celeste built toward the climax of the song, the microphone cut out, a technical failure that would have devastated most performers. Without missing a beat, Celeste stepped forward and projected with such power and clarity that the back row heard every nuanced emotion in her unamplified voice. The standing ovation that followed lasted nearly 5 minutes. Among the audience was Eleanor Whitfield, a retired recording artist visiting her grandchildren in Riverdale. Her business card, pressed into Evelyn's hand afterward with the words, "Call me tomorrow," scrawled on the back, would become the family's first glimpse at a different future. The Chicken Circuit years. Eleanor's connections opened doors to what locals called the Chicken Circuit, small venues across Texas and neighboring states where emerging artists cut their teeth performing for modest pay but invaluable experience. At 19, with James insisting he had the household finances under control and her mother's blessing, Celeste embarked on her first regional tour. The circuit was far from glamorous. Smoky bars with sticky floors, honky-tonks where patrons talked through performances, and county fairs where she competed with carnival noise became Celeste's classrooms. She learned to command attention in hostile environments, to preserve her voice through multiple sets, and to handle equipment malfunctions with grace. Her first band, the River Boys, consisted of 3 seasoned musicians in their 40s who initially viewed the shy girl as a temporary vocalist until someone better came along. 2 weeks of performances changed their tune. "Girl sings like she's lived 3 lifetimes," Reggie, the drummer, told a music blogger during a rare interview. "Makes these old bones remember what it feels like to believe in something." Celeste sent home half of every paycheck, no matter how small, with letters detailing her adventures. The money helped Ruby take dance lessons, Michael enroll in a fashion design workshop, and eased the burden on James and Evelyn. Her letters, which Evelyn kept in a growing collection of scrapbooks, chronicled both triumphs and hardships, from standing ovations to nights spent sleeping in the band's van when venues failed to provide promised accommodations. During these years, Celeste's musical education expanded exponentially. She absorbed influences from every performer she encountered, developing a signature style that fused her gospel roots with blues, jazz, and touches of country. Her repertoire grew to include original compositions that increasingly gained audience favor over covers. "You write truth," Lenny, the band's guitarist and a Vietnam veteran, told her one night after she debuted a song called Riverdale Lullaby, which captured the bittersweet nostalgia of her hometown. "That's rarer than a good voice, and honey, you've got both." Musical awakening and family evolution. 3 years into her circuit journey, Celeste experienced an artistic epiphany during a festival in New Orleans. Wandering the music-filled streets on a rare day off, she encountered a jazz quartet whose elderly pianist, a woman named Josephine with hands gnarled by arthritis but still nimble on the keys, invited her to sit in for a set. The improvisational nature of jazz had always intimidated Celeste, but something in Josephine's encouraging smile prompted her to accept. What followed was a musical conversation that broke open her understanding of what her voice could do. Freed from the structured arrangements she typically performed, Celeste discovered vocal scatting and improvisational phrasing that would become hallmarks of her mature style. "You're not just a singer, child," Josephine told her afterward. "You're a musician who uses voice as her instrument. Don't ever let anyone tell you different." Back in Riverdale, the Johnson family was undergoing its own transformation. James had parlayed his mechanical skills into a business partnership with Mr. Wilson, becoming part owner of the auto shop. Louisa had earned a scholarship to study engineering at Texas A&M, while Michael's design talents secured him an apprenticeship with a respected tailor in Dallas. Ruby, now a teenager, had discovered her own musical gift, not in voice but in composition, writing melodies that Celeste would occasionally incorporate into her performances. Evelyn had perhaps changed the most. The reserved schoolteacher had blossomed into a community organizer, establishing a foundation that provided music education to underprivileged children in Riverdale and surrounding counties. The first beneficiary of what she named the Marcus Johnson Musical Scholarship was a 12-year-old boy whose guitar playing reminded her of her late husband's gentle strumming. When Celeste returned for her mother's 50th birthday, the gathering turned into an impromptu concert on their porch, the first time the entire family had made music together since Marcus's passing. As night fell and neighbors gathered in their yard to listen, something healed in the collective Johnson heart. "Your daddy built this family on love and hard work," Evelyn told her children as they sat together afterward, gazing at stars appearing in the Texas sky. "But y'all are building it into something that'll outlast all of us." The Parisian Invitation. Celeste's reputation continued to grow beyond the chicken circuit. Her first EP, a collection of 5 original songs recorded in a small Austin studio, began receiving radio play throughout the Southwest. Music journalists noted her unique vocal quality described variously as honey and gravel, sunrise breaking through storm clouds, and Texas earth with Parisian sophistication. The latter description proved prophetic when Jean-Baptiste Moreau, owner of the renowned Parisian jazz club Le Chat Bleu, encountered her music during a business trip to New Orleans. His subsequent journey to a small Texas venue where Celeste was performing led to an unprecedented offer, a 6-month residency at his club with accommodations and a salary that exceeded her annual earnings on the circuit. The prospect of Paris created both excitement and anxiety within Celeste. At 25, she had never left the American South, let alone crossed an ocean. Her French was limited to phrases gleaned from Edith Piaf records she'd studied out of admiration for the legendary singer's emotional delivery. "I can't possibly," she initially told Jean-Baptiste. "You can't possibly refuse," he countered. "Some voices belong to the world, Mademoiselle Johnson. Yours is one of them." The family council convened via telephone calls and culminated in a weekend gathering at the Johnson home. Financial concerns dominated the discussion until James revealed his surprising involvement. "I've been investing your money," he told his stunned sister, presenting a folder of financial statements showing how he'd grown her modest remittances into a significant sum. "Not just yours, all of ours. We're not rich, but we're stable. You don't need to take care of us anymore." Evelyn's perspective proved decisive. "Your father and I always said our job was to give you wings, not clip them. Paris is your wing-spreading moment, baby girl." With her family's blessing and practical concerns addressed through James's financial planning, Celeste accepted the invitation. The woman who boarded the plane in Dallas bore little external resemblance to the shy girl from Riverdale, dressed in a tailored suit adapted from one of Michael's designs, her posture confident, her speaking voice almost as commanding as her singing one, but she carried her roots in the worn hymnal tucked into her carry-on bag. Parisian triumph and global acclaim. Paris embraced Celeste with unexpected warmth. Her debut at Le Chat Bleu created an immediate sensation, with crowds growing nightly as word spread of the American singer whose voice bridged continents and musical traditions. French critics, typically reserved toward American artists, praised her authentic delivery and emotional intelligence. "She does not merely perform jazz, she inhabits it," wrote influential critic Claude Desmarais. "Yet there is something uniquely American, specifically Texan, in her interpretation that refreshes rather than copies our beloved genre." Celeste's limited French became a charming aspect of her performances, with audiences cheering her progressively improving pronunciation between songs. She developed a routine of learning one new French phrase daily, sharing it during performances in exchange for her audience teaching her another. The residency extended from 6 months to a year as demand for tickets remained consistently high. Celeste's repertoire expanded to include French classics reinterpreted through her unique vocal style, creating culturally hybrid performances that attracted attention from recording executives throughout Europe. Her first full album, Oak Tree to Eiffel Tower, produced by a respected French label, featured both original compositions and innovative covers that showcased her cross-cultural musical perspective. The album achieved gold status in France within months and began gaining traction internationally, particularly in Japan, where her fusion approach resonated with audiences accustomed to cultural synthesis in art. Throughout her European success, Celeste maintained close connections with her family through weekly video calls that became a ritual for the Johnsons. She witnessed Ruby's high school graduation remotely, celebrated Michael's first major fashion show through livestream, and consulted with James about increasingly significant investment decisions as her earnings grew. The most poignant long-distance moment came when Louisa announced her pregnancy, Celeste's improvised lullaby, sung over the video call and recorded by Evelyn, became the family's welcome to the next generation of Johnsons. Full circle. The family estate. 3 years into her international career, with successful tours across Europe, Asia, and a triumphant return to American stages as a headliner rather than an opening act, Celeste proposed a family meeting during a rare break between tours. The gathering at the original Johnson home, now renovated thanks to Evelyn's prudent management of the financial support Celeste continued to provide, turned emotional when Celeste revealed her surprise. "Remember old man Hargrove's property?" she asked, spreading photographs across the dining table. "The one with the creek and those hills Daddy always said would be perfect for watching sunset." The 200-acre plot of land had been Riverdale's most coveted property, with the Hargrove family refusing countless offers over decades. Through careful negotiation and respect for the elderly owner's desire to see the land preserved rather than subdivided, Celeste had secured not just the purchase but Mr. Hargrove's blessing for what she envisioned. "It's ours now," she announced. "All of it. For the family to build whatever future we want." Her plan unfolded through architectural renderings commissioned from a sustainability-focused firm, a family compound centered around individual homes for each Johnson sibling and their current or future families, connected by walking paths and common areas. At its heart stood a larger gathering space designed for performances, with acoustics that would accommodate everything from Ruby's increasingly sophisticated compositions to the community music programs Evelyn had established. The Harmony Ranch, Ruby christened it immediately, the name receiving unanimous approval. Construction began that summer, with each family member contributing to the design of their respective spaces. James incorporated a state-of-the-art garage where he could pursue his passion for restoring vintage automobiles. Louisa, now an environmental engineer, designed water reclamation systems that made the property largely self-sufficient. Michael created a design studio with natural lighting that attracted visiting fashion professionals from Dallas and beyond. Most significantly, Evelyn's Music Foundation found a permanent home in a converted barn that became the Marcus Johnson Music Academy, offering instruction to students throughout the county regardless of financial means. The first class of 30 students included children from backgrounds similar to the Johnsons, their education funded through scholarships established from Celeste's touring proceeds. Legacy in Harmony. By Celeste's 35th birthday, celebrated with a private concert at Harmony Ranch attended by family, friends, and neighbors who had supported them through difficult years, the Johnsons had achieved a balance few families attain. Individual success. Celeste's international career, James's expanding business, Louisa's environmental patents, Michael's fashion line, and Ruby's compositions increasingly performed by orchestras across the country, complemented rather than competed with their collective identity. The ranch became both retreat and creative incubator. Between tours, Celeste returned to compose in the quiet Texas landscape that had first nurtured her voice. The recording studio built into her personal residence hosted collaborations with artists she'd met throughout her travels, producing albums that continued to defy categorization while achieving critical and commercial success. Perhaps most meaningful was watching her siblings develop independence from her financial support. While Celeste's initial investments had created opportunity, each Johnson had transformed that opportunity into sustainable success. James managed not only his auto business but the family's growing investment portfolio. Louisa's environmental engineering firm secured government contracts for sustainable water management. Michael's designs appeared in stores throughout the Southwest, while Ruby's compositions earned prestigious commissions. "We never needed rescuing," James told his sister during a quiet moment watching sunset from the hilltop their father had once admired. "We just needed the chance to discover what we could do." Evelyn, witnessing her children's evolution from her wraparound porch, an exact replica of their original homes, found particular joy in the 10 grandchildren now racing across the property, their voices raised in games and occasional impromptu performances. Music remained the family's common language, with lessons at the academy as much a part of the youngest generation's routine as regular family dinners where accomplishments were shared and challenges collectively addressed. Celeste's international peers frequently expressed surprise at her continued connection to Riverdale. Why maintain such deep roots in a small Texas town when Paris, New York, or Los Angeles offered advantages for her career? Her answer never varied. "My voice came from this earth and these people," she would explain, gesturing toward the family gathered around her. "Every note I sing carries their stories too." On warm Texas evenings when schedules aligned to bring all branches of the Johnson family to Harmony Ranch, a remarkable scene unfolded. 3 generations gathered on the central patio, Evelyn in her favorite rocking chair, siblings with their partners, children of varying ages perched on laps or sprawled on cushions, while music filled the twilight air. Sometimes Celeste sang, her voice now rich with decades of experience yet still carrying echoes of the girl who once performed for Mockingbirds. Other times she simply listened as Ruby led the younger generation through original compositions or James revived their father's favorite country classics on a guitar inherited from Marcus. In these moments, the country mouse who had captured the world's attention with a voice like a siren found her greatest fulfillment not in international acclaim but in the harmony she had helped create. A family transformed not by her success alone but by their collective journey from struggle to significance, their melodies interwoven into something greater than any could have created alone. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. And don't forget those post notifications for the next Hood Tales installment.